Hello, Jennifer. It's so nice to have you on the show today. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much. How are you?
I am doing quite fine, and thank you so very much for being here. You see, I truly appreciate you. And you see, Jennifer, oftentimes I love to thank my guest for two things. And I do this so often to the point where it has become my anthem. So, firstly, Jennifer, I want to say thank you so very much for investing in yourself. You see, you are on this platform right now because you did invested in yourself. And oftentimes, Jennifer, I love to make reference to the amazing mango tree. You see, some couple of months back, I was on a particular road, and just by the roadside, Jenny, there was this very tall, unattractive mango tree. And I used the word unattractive because the mango tree's got no mangoes on it and the leaves were all dry. So I just walked past it and I went my way. But you see, Jennifer, just recently I was on that same road. And this time around, a lot's changed about the mango tree, you see. The mango tree caught my attention pretty good from a distance. And immediately I got the urge to move so close to it, of which I did. And it wowed me because now the mango tree's got a lot of mangoes on it, beautiful green leaves and healthy branches. And not just mangoes now, Jennifer. I'm talking about ripe mangoes. It was such a lovely experience that day, and I was so, so excited. Here is my point. The fact that you dedicated your time, energy, and resources to becoming the amazing Jennifer that you are today, that alone has made it impossible for me to skip you. And that's why you got the request from me to be on the show because I was attracted to the fruit of all that you're doing. Your philosophies, your insights, the impact your work is having, and how you are offering your solutions, Jennifer. This stuff's so beautiful. And just before I sent you that request, I said to myself, I've got to benefit from these beautiful things Jennifer is doing. And not only me now, because I don't want to look selfish and even with the audience. And here we are today with the amazing Jennifer. So thank you so very much for doing that to yourself. And secondly, thank you for saying yes to the invite. Because if you had said nope, there was nothing Elisha could do about it. Thanks so much, Jennifer.
You're very welcome. I am honored to be here.
Beautiful. And thank you once again. So let's get started. You see, I am quite excited to have you on the show today, Jennifer, for some reasons. Firstly, my interest in knowledge seeking. I believe in order for one to transition from a terrible situation to that of a beautiful one, Jennifer, I believe it takes the application of knowledge, quality information, and not just knowledge alone, but the application of it. And you see, Jenny, ever since I discovered that light in the Hebrew means knowledge and darkness ignorance, I've been so keen to knowledge seeking. Why? Because I do not want to remain in the dark. So that's going to make our conversation today very important to me and even to the listeners. And the second reason I'm excited to have the incredible Jennifer on the show is for the sake of the audience. You see, Jennifer, we live in an age where information is as abundant as grains of sand. We've got lots of information flying out there. So this folks trust me for quality, high opening, and very important information, of which I am totally convinced, Jennifer, that our conversation is going to be insightful and impactful. So for that reason, Jennifer, let's get started with your introduction. Talk to us about your personal or your professional journey, because right now we are so curious. We want to know how Jennifer got here. Then afterwards, I've gotten some beautiful questions for you. Okay, Jennifer, over to you.
Absolutely. Again, it's my honor and my pleasure to be here, and I love the information gathering and sharing that you're doing. I fully agree with your philosophy that knowledge is everything. And it's why I tell my story as often as I do, because I want people to feel seen and heard and supported. And if there's anything that I say in these next several minutes, I hope that someone in your audience, if not multiple people, can take something away from it. So I worked in corporate America for a long time in marketing and PR. I also had the pleasure of working for the Great Boys and Girls Club of America for a few years. And then my husband and I took a trip to Greece. It was the trip of a lifetime. And on the fourth night of our trip, he woke me up in the middle of the night and he said, "I think I'm having a heart attack." And of course, I ran downstairs. I tried to get emergency services, but unfortunately, the time of year we were in Greece and the island we were on didn't have very many options. And so the hotel manager and I tried to do the best we can, but he passed very quickly after telling me what was happening, and I lost him. That was in May of 2024. And as you can imagine, and I'm sure, many of your listeners can relate, it was chaos. I was in another country. I had to communicate with my family, make sure they knew what was going on. I'm very grateful for the U.S. Embassy in Greece for navigating all of the chaos with me. And I was very blessed to be able to fly home very quickly to be with my family. I came home, the chaos continued a little bit, house full of people, and just the shock of a very healthy 49-year-old man having left us so quickly. And so I took some time. I took some time off work to really process everything. And to determine what my next chapter in my life was going to be. And it was during that time when I realized, and, I sought out community. That's something that's a big part of my story as well, is that I'm also in recovery for addiction. And my recovery community is everything to me. And so it's what I knew to do. I knew to find community, and I looked for communities of widows who had experienced what I had, and I had a difficult time finding it. And so, given my personality and my drive and ambition, I said, well, I'm going to create it myself. And so I've spent the better part of the last year really creating a organization called It's Lifey. And my goal and my mission have been to create communities for people who have lost their loved ones. And I was on a call the other night, and a woman who had lost her husband probably 20 years ago said something that took, I think, all of us aback. She said, "Grief is beautiful." And for those that were new in their grief on the call, they kind of looked at her a little bit funny and, not really understanding. But while I'm quite not, I'm not really fully a believer in that yet, my path has taken me to start to believe that, because there's been some really beautiful things that have happened in my life, both from a personal growth perspective and from the ability to help others, that have been truly beautiful. And so here I am, continuing to build my organization. I have a new community launching soon, and my mission continues to really help widows or women who have lost their partners find comfort in each other and in their community. And you talked about knowledge, really learning from each other, because none of us know what to do when this tragedy strikes. And so how can we all continue to just learn from each other and support each other? And so that's where I am right now.
Tell you, that must have been very, very tough on you and your family. The fact that you went through all of that, and look at the beautiful stuff you're doing now. Not many people move forward after such tragedy, but look at you now. Look at the beautiful stuff you're doing, standing and helping others. That's very inspiring. And I'm going to share this episode with someone that I know that is still currently stuck in what you came out of. Thank you so very much for sharing your story, Jennifer. It's amazing. You know, the beautiful stuff you're doing now, how you turned pain into purpose. That's amazing. So let's pick the first question from there. So let's say we've got some listeners who want to know how to, turn pain into purpose like you did. What would you like to say to them?
I often say that I hate how I got here, but I'm here. And I think if more people can be accepting of their situations, the trauma that they've experienced, and I don't always love the word trauma, but the reality is we've all been through stuff. Life has been lifey, and that's, where my company name has come from. And so if we can kind of recognize and accept the experiences we had and realize that they are in the past and there's nothing that we can do to change them, but to move forward and to search within yourself and within your community to find out what kind of purpose, what kind of support can you give other people who have gone through some of those other, similar life transitions. To me, that is taking your pain, internal pain, external pain, and really turning it into something that's purposeful and that other people can learn from. And so when I say turning pain into purpose, that is really what I mean, is to accept where you are in your current life and think about how you can write your next chapter and how that chapter can be designed to not just help. You don't have to be me and go out and try and help the world, which is ambitious and aggressive, because that's my personality. But even if you can just help one or two or five people, to then you're doing a really beautiful and purposeful thing.
Exactly, and that's so true. And that was well explained. I got that. So you see, there is this words you've been using, your company, the name of your company, Life Gets Lifey. I think I love that. So
Yeah.
what does that really mean? And how did you, come up with those amazing words?
So it's a phrase that I've heard often in my recovery journey. I can't take credit for making it up, but it really resonated that, we all go through stuff. We all go through, you know, both beautiful times and growth moments and also really difficult ones. And I think it's easily relatable that life just gets lifey sometimes. I've had to, well, that's the full name of my company. I have had to shorten it a little bit. And so I go by It's Lifey because it's lifey. And again, as I mentioned before, I think that acceptance piece of where you are in the current moment of your lifiness and being able to push forward is really important. And so that's where that phrase came from. And I wanted something that people just understood right off the bat. And I think that's one of those phrases that people just get it right away.
It's Lifey. Yeah, it's very, very relatable. I got that. So, what about this one? What is the first step for someone who feels completely alone?
I would say, there's varying degrees of grief, and grief is a roller coaster, and it hits you really hard some days, and some days you think you can get through. And so, I believe that connection is the antidote to loneliness. And so, if you're feeling lonely, seek connection, and that can be within your community, your religious organization, volunteering, or in my case, finding a community of other people who have gone through exactly what you've been through, people who get it. And so, for the people out there that are experiencing, any kind of life circumstance, and for me specifically, having lost a partner, um, talking to somebody else who's been through the same thing is not just life changing, it's life saving. It can literally, I fully believe that community and connection changes people's lives.
Community and connection, very, very important. Very, very important. Though I know this is not really as deep as yours, but when I went through my first breakup with my then girlfriend, it was hell. So I can only imagine what you went through, Jennifer. It was hell, I tell you. So
It
I
was
had
hell,
to,
yeah.
yeah.
I'm right there with
I,
you. Yeah, I would agree with
I
that.
had to, I had to, spend time with some folks who I know that they are great individuals. So their company played an important role in my healing. So I got that connection, community, very, very important. So we still have two questions to go. Are you ready for me?
Yes,
All
yes.
right. So what about this one? Because there are some folks who they hold sharing their stories back. They don't want to share their story. So what do you think hold people back from sharing their story? And how can they, come out of that? Is it lack of courage? You got it. I got it. And that's so true. So finally, what does compassionate leadership look like in practice? Amazing, and I got that. Not being judgmental and ensuring that while forming your words, you're doing that through the lens of compassion. I got that. And that was well explained. I got that. So to bring this to an end, Jennifer, what would you like to leave the audience with, like a final thought? And to those individuals who like to reach out to you, learn more about the wonderful stuff you're doing, or be a part of your beautiful stuffs, how can that be possible? That's so beautiful, Jennifer, and that's so thoughtful of you, you know, putting all of that together. I got that. So that's going to be the end of the show, Jennifer. Thank you for coming and thank you for sharing this beautiful stuff with us. It means a whole lot. Thank you.